Hey everybody, what's going on? Kris here. Another episode, Fallbrook Village Talk. I'm excited, and as you know, we're on a mission to create an online show to tell the stories about Fallbrook through conversations, and for those that are affected, that affect the change, make the change, just the hustlers, bustlers, and even people that are just out there. But today, I'm actually really excited because I happened to look up the Fallbrook. So if you all don't know, there's a VFW. I'm sure everybody knows, but there's a VFW in Fallbrook, and I saw a post that they had put up about homes for our troops. And I've wanted for a while to get involved in this organization. They've done a few homes in Fallbrook. And as I'm looking at it, I reached out. And sure enough, I heard back from Homes for Our Troops, and they said they were willing to sit down and talk about, because they're building another house right now. They're building another house in Fallbrook. It's going to be there this Sunday, meeting at the VFW. I'm going to send out that information through Fallbrook Village Talk. I'll put it on Friends of Fallbrook and Real Friends of Fallbrook as well. But I saw it, reached out, and it turns out I got an interview. I'm excited. So there's so much that Homes for Our Troops does. Basically what they do, they build and donate specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans to basically enable them to rebuild their lives. And in our town, it's a small town, and I would say the friendly village in general. So I'll expand a little bit past Fallbrook to Bonsall and the surrounding areas. But there's a lot of veterans. There's also a lot of active duty. And what I'm excited about this Sunday, Army Specialist, there's an Army Specialist that they're actually building a home for. So I wanted to sit down, talk to somebody. And sure enough, instead of just getting anybody that jumped on there, I got the president. For Homes for Our Troops. So I'm real excited. Tom, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Kris, and really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about Homes for Our Troops.
Yeah, thank you so much. And unfortunately, if you all didn't notice, we were supposed to go live at about 10, and the internet here completely crashed. So I had to hardline and do some funny stuff, running around here like a madman, but finally got us on. Tom was gracious enough to stay on for a little bit. So, real quick, Tom, if you could tell us about who you are, just so people kind of get a good feel for about just you as a person before we get started.
Sure. Okay. So I'm a native Texan. We were talking about that earlier. Yep. Born and raised in Dallas, went to West Point, graduated from there in 1976, went into the Army, spent 33 years all across the globe, doing different jobs all throughout the Army, retired in 2009 while I was at the Pentagon. And my last couple of years in the Army, I decided, trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up and retired, and decided that I wanted to go in the nonprofit sector. I didn't want to go into the corporate sector and just be a contractor that went back into the Pentagon trying to sell stuff to my buddies. So I took a bridge job in the Pentagon for a couple of years as a civilian, and then latched on to a position as the COO of the Armed Services YMCA, which is another military-related nonprofit focused on the junior enlisted that are still currently serving, so a different group of folks. And I was doing that job, like I say, for about 5 years. Then I had a buddy of mine that was the previous president, CEO of Homes for Our Troops, Major General retired Tim McCullough. And he called me up back in the fall of 2016 and said he was going to be departing the organization. And he thought of me and wanted to know whether or not I had any interest in backfilling him. So I had stayed in touch with him. We had known each other for about 25 years. I knew what he was up to, but I didn't really know a lot of the specifics of the organization. So I did what anybody would do, their due diligence before they were going to change positions. And I went to the website, checked out the organization, looked at the financials, looked at the board, knew a lot of the board members, did all those normal things. Then there's a section on the website where you can actually look at every single veteran that Homes for Our Troops has either supported or is currently building a home for. And there's a video on each veteran's page before is actually at their veteran conference up in the Boston area. And it kind of goes over their background, their injury, their situation, and what they expect the home to do for them. And I started watching these videos, and I couldn't stop. It was like binge watching, put in your favorite show. And my wife kept walking back and forth behind me. And a lot of these videos, the set is kind of the same. So when you look at them, you may not realize you're watching different things. But I kept going. She finally stopped and said, "Are you watching the same video over and over again?" And I said, "No." I said, "Pull up a chair." So she pulled up a chair. And I hit play on the next one. And we watched through it. And she looked at me and said, "Play another one." And I went, "Exactly. Exactly. So it was off of that really just absolutely bowled me over the kind of impact that this organization has on troops and families. And, like I mentioned to you earlier, Kris, growing up in the Army, as you went through every level of command, your number one mission was always to take care of the troops and the families that were under command. So I saw this as just another extension of that, continuing to be able to help troops and their families. And boy, what a crowd we help, and we can't do enough for these guys.
I had first heard of Homes for Our Troops when a home was being built in Fallbrook for somebody. And, I didn't dig in deep, but I sort of watched from a distance and said, man, that's a pretty good idea. And I personally had been interested in trying to figure out what I could do to get involved or what I could do. And, I sat down and we were talking. So if y'all didn't know, we were talking before we jumped on, and I started getting a little emotional. I watched the video from Specialist Joey Paulk yesterday, and it took me 2 or 3 times before I could finish the whole video. And because I'm planning on going to meet this young man tomorrow, or Sunday, excuse me. I'm planning on meeting him Sunday. I'm going to become a lot more involved, and I felt like I had to hear his story. And I tell you, the videos are powerful. They are absolutely powerful, and what you do as an organization is powerful. And that's why I want to try to get you all on. And it's not just because of what you do in Fallbrook. I think that's the thing, because you've done a lot of homes in Fallbrook. And then of course, Younger Construction out of Fallbrook, right there local as well. But it's also what you just do nationwide to really take care of individuals, because I don't want to use the word troops over and over, and granted, that's what they are and what we are in overall as veterans, you included. You're a veteran, but just human beings that have sacrificed more than I did some tours myself, but Specialist Joey Paulk in the Army, right there, that guy sacrificed a lot.
So you hit our mission verbatim. Couldn't have said it better myself, and we can probably use you as an ambassador down the line. So, be ready for that additional help there.
All right.
But, we really see, and we're a 501c3, but we see that as a tax category, nothing more. We see our mission as really the moral obligation of our country to pay back in some very small part a debt that can never be fully repaid to these troops and their families that have selflessly served and sacrificed greatly on our behalf so that we can enjoy the freedoms we do every single day.
Right.
And that's what it really is all about, is paying back to these severely injured veterans and their families. And what happened when they went down range and became injured is they sacrificed a lot of that freedom and independence that you and I and a lot of other people take for granted every single day. It put them in a position to where they had to depend on other people to do things for them.
Right.
And most of us that end up joining the military are pretty fiercely independent and really don't have to want to ask for people to do the very, mundane things that make our lives easier, that we live every single day. And they've had to do that. So our work is to try and build these homes that have more than 40 special adaptations into them, so that it helps restore some of that freedom and independence of these severely injured veterans and their families. And
right.
It not just for the veteran, but the caregivers. The caregivers have a tremendous burden placed on them when their veteran is injured, and they have to care for them every day. A lot of the caregivers don't leave the homes because they're worried about their veterans, especially if they have small children and things like that. And these homes are designed not just the freedom and independence of the veteran, but also to take some of that burden off of that caregiver and allow them to get back to normal life. Right.
It's a home by itself. It's just such a major portion. So I have a giant flood of emotions, and I'm trying not to be emotional as much as I can. Even for those that come home, it seems like, whether it's this war or, many wars before this one, for those that have fought, you never come back who you were to begin with. So that's already one difficult thing that every veteran's going to deal with in one fashion or another. But then when you talk about someone, a veteran that's severely disabled or severely injured in one fashion or another, you know, I think it's easy sometimes, us as a society, to sit there, you see it on TV, and it's like, wow, man, that sucks. And then you switch over to watching the Kardashians or whatever it is you watch, and then you just sort of forget. And it's easy to throw out your political views or talk about what you like or dislike or what things suck, but then you don't take into consideration, you know, really our problems as an overall society aren't all that. They aren't as bad as it could be in a lot of places, especially in a lot of places that our veterans have fought throughout the generations. We're not just talking about our generation. We're talking about generations here of war. Not all of us have asked to go. Not all of us wanted to go, but you know, you go because I think for most veterans, there was a deep burning thing inside of us of being just an American. And I know, well, what's your ethnicity? I'm an American. That's what I am. And I like being an American. I'm very proud of being an American. And I fought. I was in the Marine Corps for a little over 20 years, and I came out the other end with, unlike Specialist Joey Paulk, with all of my fingers. I came out of all of my deployments from Iraq and Afghanistan without having burns over most of my body, and then to go and have to ask for help or seek help from the VA, or basically know that, you know, for one, trying to keep your emotional and mental space to where it's like, look, I'm okay. I'm still here. I can still have a life and live. To be able to create and give a home to somebody is probably one of the most powerful things you could do, because it takes away so many challenges so they can focus on the other things that they probably could do, which is their own mental health or trying to just be good. Trying to deal with what they've experienced or trying to rebuild relationships. I mean, good Lord, there's so many things. I could keep going. I just think that one major thing, being able to provide somebody a home that's going to meet their needs, that's overwhelming to me. And it's life-changing. And I personally want to say thank you for what you do, and what the organization does, because it's amazing to me. I just think it's amazing.
Well, thanks. It's a life-changing moment. I mean, everybody, if you think about it, your home is your place of respite. That's where you go. You feel safe. You can unwind. You can relax. You can let your hair down. You can completely be yourself and just make plans for the future, think about what's to come. But again, it's your place of respite. And these severely injured veterans, the places that they live are not made for them to live very well. They're not safe. They can't access the entire home. I mean, I think about the place I left in Virginia, and we had 3 steps to get up to the front door. And then we had about a 9-inch step to go in the front door. The front door was narrow. There's no way I could have taken a wheelchair and taken up those 3 steps and then taken it up that next, 3/4 of a foot to get into the house. And then the first thing you saw as you entered the doorway were stairs going upstairs. And we had stairs that went downstairs. We had a lot of carpet in the house, and stairs and carpet are the enemy of wheelchairs and prosthetics and things like that. So the narrow hallways, these guys may be able to get a wheelchair down them, but they can't get turned around. They can't turn it into a room. So then they got to just back up. And the wheelchairs will just do a number on that drywall inside those narrow hallways. They've got kids. So in the middle of the night, kid having a bad dream or something, they've either got to sit up and take the time to put legs back on, try and get there, or get in their wheelchair and go. And then they got to get out of the wheelchair. They will tell you they'll get onto the floor and scooch themselves across to get into a room. That's, having a home like that, that's not your place of respite.
Right.
That's not what the rest of us deal with every day. And they deserve to have a regular home that's completely safe for them and that's fully accessible, that when that 2-year-old goes running around the house, that dad or mom can now chase them everywhere in the house. There's no place that 2-year-old can hide from them because it's fully accessible.
Right.
it's got a sidewalk that goes all the way around it. And it's 48 inches wide, so the veteran can go out and actually access their yard. In Joey's instance, yeah, and Joey specifically, he's gone through so much. I mean, he was injured in 2007.
Right. And for everybody that's watching and now and later, you have to watch the video so you can learn about who Joey is, the home that they're building for, and it's going to be here this weekend on Sunday. But you got to watch the video. So go on. I'm sorry, Tom. I want to make sure people knew that. Yeah.
So when his vehicle was blown up by an IED, and his battle buddy there on the other side was killed in that incident. He received some tremendous burns, was actually passed out because of the burns and stuff, and it was a good thing, and then went into a medically induced coma, went down to Brook, and by the time they brought him out of the coma, they had already taken all of his fingers, everything off his hands. They'd already done a lot of skin grafts. But when he came out of that, he went through some bad times, and a lot of our veterans with his injuries go through some bad places. They've got some awful dark places back in the recesses of their mind that unless you've been through that kind of stuff, you really can't comprehend. They deal with an awful lot of bad thoughts, and that's why we end up losing a lot of veterans every single day to suicide, which is a conversation all on its own.
Yep.
But it was eventually because he became so withdrawn and everything, and truly became a recluse, that his family finally got involved and said, hey, you got to come out of this. You got to live the rest of your life. I mean, he was injured when he was 21. I think back when I was 21, I was still in college at the time. And the rest of the life that I've had, I just can't imagine being in that position. But the other thing that came into view for him was an organization called, in its program called Operation Mend out of UCLA.
Really?
And they, a little over 10 years ago, married up with U.S. military in the hopes of trying to help these troops that have had disfiguring injuries, especially the burns and things like that. And Joey had extensive ones.
Right.
He didn't want to go out of his house because he didn't want to be looked at. He didn't, kids are looking. Kids, God bless them, they've got no filter.
Right.
So they'll say what they're thinking, and he would tell you that he could put a hat on, he could wear long sleeves and put his hands in his pockets and things like that. But he just didn't want to deal with any of that. And so he got linked up with UCLA, and they're the ones that are responsible for the way he looks today.
Wow.
If you go to Operation Men's website and scroll down, you'll see some pictures of the veterans they helped, and one of them is Joey. If you click on that one, there's a video there that's about 6 minutes long that'll take you through and show you some of his actual injuries and what they did to change them. And truly life-changing for him as well, because that changed his entire outlook on life. And then we didn't find him. He found us. So he did some search on the internet and actually contacted us and said, hey, so what do you guys really do? And then we brought him into our program. We took him through the process and everything. And now he's getting a home. Couldn't be happier for the kid, but he has gone through so much.
I'm looking forward to meeting him. I'm really looking forward to meeting him. And, it's awesome that you said all this, because that was one of the questions I had, was to learn more about who he is. And, if you could, I'd like to hear what the plan is for his house and how people in Fallbrook and the surrounding communities can get involved.
Okay, so we should be pouring a slab on his house within the next week, and it'll be finished probably in late summer. Just depends on how everything with construction goes. I'm not an engineer. I was a knuckle dragon Army aviator. So to now be in the construction business, I learn every day that things happen. And sometimes even God gets a vote, and he decides to, bring all the rains or fires or whatever else he might have in store for you to cope with. that can throw you off your timeline. But we really expect to have his home done in late summer. Again, the general contractor that's doing this build is Scott Younger Construction, and he lives there in Fallbrook. He and his wife, Jen, their family, they are all in on this mission. This will be these two homes that we're kicking off this weekend will be his 23rd and 24th that he's built for us.
Wow.
And all across California, we've built 31 to date, and we got another 15 in progress.
That's fantastic.
So Scott is really, and I've been doing this for a little over 2 years now, he's really our number one builder. He's the builder that when I go out and watch what other builders are doing, I'm kind of holding up what he has done really to measure them. He is our number one guy. And again, he is fully vested in our mission. He's not just a builder that's out there doing it. His heart is completely into it, as is his entire family. And then along the way, we have 3 events that we do for every build. So the first event is the kickoff ceremony, and that's what we're doing Sunday for Joey. And on Saturday, we're doing it for Carlos Gomez over in Menifee. And at the kickoff, it's really to introduce the veteran to the local community and vice versa. Because one of the unique things about our organization is our veterans tell us where they want to live. Then we go out and try and find the land, buy the land, and then build them a home from the ground up.
That's awesome.
So he's chosen to live there. We didn't force him. We didn't find him a home. We didn't say, you got to live it. He chose it. We found the land, and we're building a home. So we introduce the veteran to the community so the community can come out and wrap their arms around this veteran and welcome them to their new home. So that's the kickoff. There'll be some speeches. We'll bring them in by an escort, patriotic escort. We'll have a lot of flags flying. I mean, I got our logo right here, and you can see the flag is proudly displayed there too. So we're a patriotic organization and proud of it. And then about 6 weeks before the home is done, then we will do a volunteer day. And again, that's to get the local community out, and we'll do all the landscaping. We won't have that date until we get closer to the end of the project, and then we'll set it about a month to 6 weeks out. We'll be sure and get it back to you so you can put it out
awesome.
There and let everybody know. But they come out and do all the landscaping, and normally in most of the yards we'll put down anywhere from 10 to 15,000 square feet of sod. Do a lot of the plants and different things, and then all the mulch and stuff. Usually in Southern California, we won't be doing as much sod. We'll have some more local vegetation, desert landscape, things like that. But Scott does a great job for us with that. Right. But all the local community gets to come out and do that. And then the final build event is actually the key ceremony. So that's another time it'll be held at the home. We'll schedule it right around the time we're setting the volunteer day. We'll probably schedule the key ceremony as well. Again, it's normally 4 to 6 weeks out from the volunteer day. But that'll be the same kind of thing. We'll bring Joey in an escort with police, fire departments, Patriot Guards, riders, motorcycle club, things like that. Bring them in, have a few words there by our different corporate sponsors that happen to show up for the event. And we'll let Joey talk as well. And then we'll go around to the front of the house. Every house we build has a flagpole. And up until that day, once the flagpole's up, we'll put the Homes for Our Troops flag up on it. And then at the key ceremony date, we'll take Joey over, and he and I'll go out front, and we'll bring down the Homes for Our Troops flag and run up a U.S. flag, sing God Bless America, then go back to the front door, and we'll have a yellow ribbon there. We'll present him with a ceremonial key, cut the ribbon, let him go in and see his home, and then we'll let everybody that's attended go in and see the home as well. So you can really see what a specially adapted custom home means.
Right. That is amazing. So I'm going to make sure that I'm at all 3 of those. I'm going to the one in Menifee. I wrote that down earlier when we were talking. If you can give everybody a quick date and time, because that's on Saturday. So let's do that. So Saturday, what do you got? Who is it for? And then I'm gonna make sure I schedule. I'm showing up to both of them.
Okay, super. So Saturday, this Saturday the 26th at 10 a.m. In Menifee at the Mount San Jacinto College. It's at Building 900 in room 927. We'll have signs up. If you get to the building, we'll get you into the room.
Right on.
And that is for Army Specialist Carlos Gomez. And then Sunday at 10 a.m. at VFW 1924 there in Fallbrook will be the kickoff for Army Specialist Joey Paulk.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm showing up to both of them. So super. I'm all in. And, because we ran over time like a lot. Right. And I appreciate you taking the time with me, Tom. But, this is kind of how I want to close this out. If more people want to get involved, and if people want to help, they believe in what y'all are doing. Like I'm a believer, for Home for Our Troops. How can the local community or just anybody that might see this on the internet there, because I'm going to put this out on my YouTube channel as well. How can people get involved? How can they help?
Well, a couple ways. First, I would say that anybody that's watching that has seen this, check us out and tell 5 people. If you mentioned, normally around 2,000 people get to view this. If everybody went out and told 5 people, that's 10,000 people that became aware of us today. And some may have heard of us. Most have not, because we don't spend a lot of money on advertising. We keep our overhead costs down so that since inception in 2004, almost 90 cents on the dollar have gone just to our one program of building these homes. I would also tell everybody to get on our website, and that's www.hfotusa.org. And it's I'm really prejudiced, of course, but I think it's a pretty great website. You can get on there and hit the button that drops down from Get Involved, and you can see all the different ways that you can support, from donating to doing a fundraiser to helping get the word out, donating your car, any number of things, volunteering at all 3 of the events. You can sign up. You can also get on there and see where all we're building. We've got a map that pops up, and you can click on each little dot on there as to where we're building or where we have built. You can look at it by state. Every veteran we support, we got a complete alphabetical list of them. You can go to each veteran's page, pull it up. You can say, I want to stay involved in this one, so let me know what's going on in this veteran's builds, and we'll email you as things come out. So great ways to do that. But again, awareness, and of course, goes without saying, welcoming both Joey and Carlos into the local communities as they move in. And then if you see fit, if you got the money and you can donate, or you can do a fundraiser or something like that, wonderful. If not, volunteering or just helping us get the word out, we'll do it.
That is awesome. And I personally am going to be looking at the fundraising stuff to seeing what I can do. I think I've been extremely blessed in so many ways, and I would love to start trying to put something together just for that purpose personally. So, and whoever shows up on Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe I'll reach out to, as I run into people, say, hey, maybe we should just do something here local. Why don't we just put something together here local that we could do, our own way of trying to, give back. I love what y'all are doing deeply. I love the fact that when I reached out, and, we kind of went back and forth between the marketing department over there and myself, they got you to sit down and talk with me, which I deeply appreciate as well. When I offer the Real Estate Blitz, which is a separate YouTube channel that I do, I usually end up with some guy that's coming on that just does pitches, but I never get to talk to the real person that's in charge, and I just love the fact that you took the time out of your day, not only took the time out of your day, but then you dealt with the internet connection issue. So I had to reestablish everything and set it up. So, Tom, thank you so much for being on. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I respect you deeply. And, I would say, just from one veteran to another, good on you. Good job. Way to go. Keep pushing. I wish I could do more. I chose a little bit of a different path in my life and my career, but I'm a mixture of jealous and like I told you earlier, I almost want to live vicariously through you. So,
well, I'll be headed that way on Friday. So I'll see you Saturday and Sunday.
All right.
Spending some more time with you. Again, thanks for the opportunity. We'll always jump on this and try and help get the word out on the organization, because again, it's all about our veterans and their families, getting them into a home that'll help them rebuild their lives moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And everybody that's watching, if you're watching live, we had a lot of live viewers. We usually get a lot of people that watch after the show. And of course, I'm going to be throwing this up on YouTube. Go check them out. I think it's a fantastic organization. Not only that, but, we're talking about our hometown, our local community, a veteran that wants to be part of it, show up and give these guys big old hugs and a lot of love and let them know what the Friendly Village is all about. I can tell you from my own personal experience, sometimes that goes so far when you don't need to understand. You don't need to try to figure out what they've been through. Just show them love. Just love on them. And we'll go from there. That's all I got. Appreciate it. Sir, appreciate it. If you hold on 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the broadcast. We'll talk real quick offline. Have a good one, Fallbrook. We'll talk to y'all later.